I'm gonna do this as best I can. Eternity, eternity, to eternity, magical, sacred harmony, positive power, infinite connection, positive and vertigo, positive and vertigo, positive and vertigo, reflection. Eternity, eternity, to eternity, magical, sacred harmony, positive power, infinite connection, positive and vertigo, positive and vertigo, positive and vertigo, reflection. One thing I have no idea is in this chakra card reading is how to show you guys again Nate's production. I'm gonna say it out loud. I'm using the Chakra Tarot Card Astrology.com store, and it goes through all the chakras, so it gives me a little foundation for direction that I'm going in. This is Metaverse Babies. Alright, so this looks like not the book. Let's see. Thing is we're gonna choose cards right now. Okay. We're gonna do mind, and today's date 10/15 2023. Body, soul, spirit, higher self, inner self, subconscious, greater conscious, all conscious, however it is you think of it. I, your sacred practice if you have one, that I guess we'll keep it at that, right? And then hearth, wealth and health. Is what hearth implies. So 2, 5 is 7, 7 is 2 is 9, is 2 is 2, 5, 5 and 3 is 11. And so we have 2 is our overall numerology number for the day. Okay, and what is 2? 2, eternity. All right, that is, oftentimes, oh, you make me whole, is something that comes into play. When actuality, when you do find that moment in relating, and you are able to exist throughout all time, that is a whole with another whole. And we come to understand that in these wholes, when we are able to come together at times and have that infinite and then break apart again and still remain whole as we go on throughout, It's an undying ritual of a universal kind, which all births are, right? I mean, all procreations are, whether they're in a fucking lab or not, man. I mean, we need to understand that life comes in so many different shapes and forms, and I'm torn aback. I don't get why we need to create life in incubation. I don't get that. I don't get it. At the same time, once created, I give a shit. It's life. You may have been the instrument in the lab, but creation is still creation. I'm sorry. Particles still came together to boink, if you will. And so that is still life. So what we're trying to play God and think that we can stop dis-ease, and that we create a lab of sickness, a culture of sickness, in order to incubate the sickness so that we can study it and figure out how. So modern medicine is based on the principle study that first you must see the entire waste go before you can understand its entire nature and behavior. So that's how it studies. It forces the gestation of whatever disease it is trying to study. And so creating a bunch of people with diabetes so that they can study the nature of that disease. You know what I mean? It's madness. So if you're mindful, you can stay out of the incubation of this shit, and it is very difficult, and you will remain under sort of constant awareness of how important it is, one way or another. So to eternity is existing alongside the other part. I don't want to say partner, but okay, so in order for things to come together, there has to be a likeness. In order to keep them apart, there has to be something that magnetically, counter-magnetics, I don't know what the word is, but, has the positive and the negative, and but still able to exist in that as it goes. If you want to call it two dimensions in harmony, moving along in the, however the folds of dimensions happen, so be it. It is whatever your concept of, and so when people are in their second life, 9 times out of 10, they are in, that marry young. I don't know. It's a hypothesis. I'm not certain. I haven't studied that one. We'll see. Somebody gets to do that study now that I mentioned it. Because that's the way ideas work, right? Grass grows everywhere. People grow everywhere. Life is everywhere. Stop. Okay, so at this time, we're going to grab our, whatever these casino cards are. I got them casino cards because he makes it seem cool. Okay, so that we remember passion. Red is passion, good or bad. Well, there's no such, not good or bad, but what we say, how do we say? On the right hand, it is the physical. On the left, it is the spiritual, supernatural, whatever it is you call it. And that, so we say concrete, which is right, and listen, which is left. Left is, you know, the wind. And so it makes you listen. Left side of the body, left side of the brain, left side of the, what do you call it? The peripheral, whatever that's called. Okay, so I'm just gonna do what I always do. Sorry, these ones I can kind of shuffle in case we're concerned about my... All right, at this time, I'm just going to grab, so, oh yeah, that's what I was doing the shuffle for, right? Joker. Joker for mind. Four for body. Seven for soul. Joker again, and it's on the opposite side of the deck. So it's not the same Joker that I picked before. Fucking A, man. Fucking A. Fucking A, Joker it is. All right, what's that say about mind and hearth and health and money, which is kind of sort of what we think of the home and hearth, and it's just kind of everything. So we bring, so I just want to say, Joker is kind of the world card. Mind is, you know, so we're saying coming to conclusions, coming to the next approaching the next dawn. This is not, you know, the dark before the dawn. This is something else. This is of time. This is approaching the next dawn of time that you face, period, in your life. And then body is 4, which is sacred. And so, interestingly enough, because, you know, your body is your temple, and so it's funny that we separate our soul and our body, our physical form and our spiritual form. So that's hilarious. In this, it forces an acknowledgement of that the whole, that the universe all comes together with this soul in order to build this body. So every part of this tissue is a reflection of the soul, as it would come to on this plane, this planet, and this existence, matter. That's what we say Earth is, matter, right? Okay, and soul is 7, which is power. So soul power. Your soul power, already we're getting a pretty strong innuendo about the soul's power to understand the body as sacred, and, you know, don't let the mind and the wants and desires and accumulations fuck with you. There's always a next now in time. I'm drawn to the atrocities of the Hawaiians and now the Palestinians, and I'm drawn to an indigenous perspective. And if you want me to talk about, you know, something in the duality of that, it's kind of like it's the advancing progressive ideology and the traditional indigenous ideology and perspective of that. And so why are we always taking indigenous people's land and acting like we have a right to it? Ever since, I don't want to get too political, but ever since Carter, we've been planning to take over land in the Middle East, to say the least. So, I mean, and that's not to say that's just in my generation of what I know. So, I don't know what the fuck, you know, motherfuckers act like something different's happening every single fucking day when it's still the same. We're still trying to world dominate. We're still trying to figure out which country's going to do the world dominating thing. You know what I mean? So meanwhile, the indigenous people are, you know, the fact of the matter is somebody owns the populations, whether it's the country or the corporation. Somebody owns the populations. And so when they kill the people, they're killing the value and the ability of that country to build, because the power to the people on all different perspectives and all different places in this existence, it is power to the people. So fuck what you think. So we're going to choose the cards first on that notion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 tis. 16 tis. Said I. And then we want to pick our, other than our picking our nose, do we want to pick our Kali Oracle? And then pick our chakras first. Cub Scout, you're out. Kali Oracle first. You always know the one you want to hit is the one. All right. Jeez. I kind of want to pick Oracle's telling me pick the chakras first. And why do I say Oracle's telling me that? Because as I'm doing it, my mind is intruding upon the purity. I need to be thinking of this. And so she began to pick, how do you say, from my mind and for me. And that's not what we're doing right now. Correct, Mundo? So, first chakra card, Root. And they may be the same ones as last time if this is a generic thing and I don't know it. Motherfucker, I can't fucking see it. It looks like wand. Ace of wand. What do they call it? I don't know if that's an ace. Let me see if I can make it bigger because, yeah, I'm blind as fuck. Emperor. I don't believe that was the same one as last time. So Emperor is the root. I would say that's a lots of sex. Sacral is the High Priestess. So we're doing sacred sex again. Did we already do this one? I don't know. I mean, root is always going to be something to do with sex because it's creation thing, maybe. And sacral is always going to be something of gut instinct to the, or, you know. And then we have the Hierophant. So we got the High Priestess and the Hierophant. I think they're like sacred couples, right? They're like, how would you say? You know, abstinent. They're both like not asexual, like I'm asexual, but like asexual, like they abstain. Perhaps, I don't know, or if they do, then it's typically non-conditional. I don't know why sex is having a big old thing, but it looks like Emperor is a ram and High Priestess is Cancer. I don't know. And then and the Hierophant. Looks like upside down Taurus. I don't know what that symbol is. I want to call it Sag, but I don't know what the fuck it is because I'm not good at that. Heart chakra is Tower. Throat chakra is Temperance. Wow. Okay, so yeah, these are different than the last one because I kind of remember that. And then we have third eye is a star card. Is the star card? Yeah. Star card's Aquarius. And looks like the female symbol, which also gives me Cancer vibes. So I don't know what the fuck that is, but it is the Empress. So the Emperor. Okay, so we got two couples showing up. So I'm showing again a duality of and it's a very traditional card. Oh Lord, have mercy. Can I show you this in a way without? Okay, can you see that? And just 6, and that's okay. So those always got me jack effing up, man. Not supposed to change my position. There's a reason for that. Get me freaking shit canned in the world. Knock knock on wood, okay? Me love and me trabajo. Okay, so that is that, and this is this. So we have a duality going on within the chakras with the root and the crown as well. And so it gives me mind and hearth, and so we're very much, yeah, there's a lot going on here that I can think of to speak to without going way deep. And then we have this solar plex with the sacral right next to each other. You know, I'm called to many things. So the tower being the heart, you know, when you have a broken heart, or when you have to break somebody's heart, or when you come to a heartfelt truth, or when you are going through a heart lesson, you know, what it means to crumble something and face rebuilding, what it means to tear down a system that you love, or an idol that you love. I'm drawn to idol because it's throat and it says temperance, and you know, you have to water. I've got 2 cups, and so it's temperance usually looks like a person with patience, like, you know, they typically have that gal, and this time they have the 2 cups, or the 2 cups sharing and pouring, you know, likely back and forth into each other's cups, so that we always have the balance. The throat being able to speak and stand strong, as well as soft, and when it's called for. The third eye being the star. You know, understanding the mind, understanding the glands of the third eye, and the fight of what's going on in the trans world. You know, don't get me started. We're so fucking ignorant about the human body and being, and it doesn't take too much to explain, except people are so angry about their places in this world, under threat. We're all under threat. And because we're all under threat, all of our hearts are breaking, and we don't know who to turn to. This God or that God. For some reason, there has to be some division. You have to idolize one over the other. For some reason, you gotta choose between being somebody who sees the bigger picture and takes a sacred route, versus somebody who commands and with demand, because they own everything. There is such a battle of will going on. For me, it's the indigenous versus the progressive, industrial, what do we call it, technological age that we're can't seem to get past. In the words of John Trudeau, it's fucking sad, dude, what's happening and how ignorant people are, and all I feel I can do is pray. I don't have any other power but to pray. I know my power, my prayer is very strong. I see it happening all the time. I wish for everyone to live healthy and have their space and have their time. And I pray that we stop needing mass death in order to choose to live harmoniously. I believe the indigenous perspective will yield that. And I pray it is a quiet war, a shift of the mind. Oh. I like this chakra throat reading. I would like their interpretation. And so if you like their interpretation, I encourage you to go to astrology.com and get you a chakra tarot reading for $21.95. Fucking A, it's awesome. I don't know one thing about these tarot cards, and so, I just make my shit up. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you're not entertained, you ought to turn off. If your brain is insane, you ought to turn off. And then they're so sane, I'm insane, insane, I'm sane. Insane and that I'm sane. So who the hell knows in this dang game? Just use your own brain. Just use your own brain. Your brain will create a net. That reality will cipher and decipher for you what is true to you. Once you create that formula for yourself, and each individual has a formula for yourself. Can't everybody eat broccoli, okay? Some people can't eat freaking strawberries, all right? I don't care what good benefits they have. So everybody has their own. And in their own, I like Ayurveda, I like iridology, I like, understanding the blood spectrum diets, and I like keto diets, but again, everybody is different, and so that those things will only work for some, not all. Ooh, we have an interesting card that I've never seen before. And it's neat. It's beautiful. So I think that's why I wanted to do that one last, is why that works out, because that one actually becomes voiced in what we read. All right, let's do my own little... All right, so we got the hook and we got the tongue. So we know that somebody's tongue got cut the fuck off, right? We got a flower, and we got and it's as though she makes it as an offering. And so it looks like the staff of whomever this Madhavida is, and it sounds like Mavida Loca. I'm just kidding. Number 15, which is 6, which is interesting because today, right, is the 15th. And so we've got some pearls or some jewels and like a cup. And so I'm going to say that if this was like, relative to the tarot stuff, there would be a particular, that this would have something to do with, again, offering, again, giving something, somebody's cup, you're the whole. And so, and it goes back to the 2 cups. This is one side. I feel this is a very familiar read to me because I feel like I've done 2 before. I've done it, or I've seen somebody do a reading that feels very similar to this read. Subconsciously, I'm latching on to some of the readers I'm watching and following and all that good stuff. So hate to do that. Whatevs. the hooks, you know, they offer, that's a metal, the flower is the water, the moisture, the tongue is the earth, and as well as the flower being, you know, and then it has the green leaves and a moon behind, or sphere or pearl, and the pearl, black pearls are dripping, and and the moon or the pearl again. So it's just about having a, you know, I give life, I take life. I can give you, I can take you. It's almost a yin and a yang symbol. It also reminds me of one of those little dragons that throw out their, you know, that we saw in different movies about that kind of thing. So let's look up 15. Mahavida. Yeah. Mahavida. All right, once again, fast as I can. I can't see. Fast as I can. All right, let me see. It's not working out. All right, fast as I can. Six is positive. Yeah, from the 15. Okay. She's unrestrained, unlimited, wild, and unconditional love. The heart knows how to attract grace and manifest creative resolution where the mind sees only difficulty. Interesting, we have a battle between heart and mind right here going on already. It's funny they separate heart and mind, though I hadn't. Okay. Blink. A spiritual awakening of tremendous value is opening for you as your inner being reorients itself. Oh, did we say tower in the heart? Yeah, we did. Reorients itself around the increasing inner light. Established structures built upon lesser foundations will have to give way. She demands the courageous embrace of experience. She is your call to initiation and growth, your invitation to embrace your path. Rise and greet your destiny. The heart knows how to attract grace and manifest creative resolution where the mind sees only difficulty. So again, I think we're talking very much about the will and the power of the femme versus the will and the power of the masculine. And I wanted, so then we talk about genders once more, and I'm trying not to talk about that. I'm trying not to talk about the wars going on, but that's all that's on my mind when I think of the world condition. And so forgive me for imposing my shit on this. Here we have the masculine and the feminine duality. So let me just explain it really quick. When we pray to the feminine, we are asking for a nurturing response. We are, whining to get what we want, and we will. Ask and you shall receive. So you get what you want when you ask from the feminine. When you ask from the masculine, you get the lesson. You get to get taught the lesson that teaches you how to gain. And so right now we're very much in a battle. And so I want to remind us that we come from a time where women ran the beings on this planet, where we women had our time. This is our men's time. Now we're going into a duality of time. And so understanding, I just want to bring back to the two. Sometimes we go on our own paths, and sometimes we come together in order to, and so we may be in that time of that, in order to, when we come and we create something else that spawns from that and goes. I mean, you just don't know what's going on in the universe that is making us do the things that we do. Much like you don't understand that your body is addicted, and so your mind can't think for itself. So whatever it is, we're mainlined into. And so whether it's religion or culture or and so that's why it's so easy to debunk a parent. All you have to do is separate a child from their parent to absolve their culture. So anyhow, those of us who fight for a way of life on this planet that has nothing to do with the advancements and things like that destroy the planet and cause us to have to leave. I mean, what is it? What is it? Okay, is it territory? I mean, come on. Come on. Really? Resources? Somebody has to win? We need a mile-long city. I mean, okay. Incubation. Why do we need it? Why do we need incubation? What's that all about? What is that all about? Why do we have to live inside? Why is it so important to live inside? We're animals. I don't want to. I want to be pop life. Pop life. What's the matter with your friends? Pop life. Is that where your money goes? Pop life. We all need a brand new thrill. Pop life. If you got your body, or if you got your mind, baby, you are wasting all my motherfucking time. Pop life. Everybody wants to be on top. Fuck, make me sick. Knock it off. The power struggles of not being able to get along between having the riches or having the sacred. Don't be too pure. Don't be too evil. It's real simple. Okay, there's a lot to read. Mahadvita is the great wisdom that manifests through 10 wisdom goddesses. Do we say that again? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. That means we've gone through 10 times to make 2. Because then we begin that cycle again. And we have the 3 and then the 4. And then so we have these things. That's how we multiply. We don't do, okay, reflection. So then we have the 1 and the 0 and then the 1. And so we don't see this, and you only see you understand? Okay? The deuce is wild up in this bitch. Okay. So the confusion about something having to be mine, the confusion and the racking of the brain, okay, to try and keep something for one's own self. You're my child. You're my love. You're mine. This is madness. You gotta think like I think. The world is mine. It's absurd. Mahadvida, the primordial Kali in multiple expressions, provides whatever is needed to serve the spiritual benefit of all beings. This is true wisdom, always shifting in response to what is needed. There are things when no matter how logical an approach may be, no matter how commonly acknowledged as correct or how sensible it may seem, the heart nudges us towards a different way, acknowledging not acknowledging. Knowledge can come from experience, yet it cannot guarantee evolution on its own. We cannot grow problems and birth superior outcomes. Only when we are willing to learn from our experiences and have the courage to move into new ways along untried paths that resonate with the heart. No, you're not allowed to fall. Difficult. I don't like that. I must be stubborn. We can outgrow problems and birth superior outcomes only when we are willing to learn from our experiences and have the courage to be moved in new ways along untried paths that resonate with the heart. Though engaging the heart, knowledge can become wisdom. Wisdom is known by its effect. It elicits healing, transformation, and provides a path through any difficulty. So I've always been very fearless about going into the new. Something I want, do we always give up every single tradition? I mean, I don't know. Okay. Ceremony is important, but ceremony on the right side of the earth. Okay, magic belongs in a specific place. It's not to go all over the place. And we are currently misusing it all by taking it everywhere where it is not supposed to go, where it is forbidden. Okay? All of our cultures root in earth magic, every single one of them. And so what seems strange to you is just because it's not supposed to be done. It's just because it's forbidden from being done on your side of the planet, on that side of the planet, on your mindset's side of the, because hemispheres, and on each side of the hemisphere, we require different things. So I won't go into all that, but, it's not as though iron is everywhere. Anyhow, you may feel bound to unwanted circumstances. The way to be freed from the oppression or constructs you are feeling is through wisdom. The way to be freed is through wisdom. However, there is a sacrifice required to obtain it, the surrendering of a fixed opinion or judgment based in self-cherishing viewpoints. Self-cherishing is the term from the Buddhist tradition, which holds wisdom in very high regard. Self-cherishing viewpoints sounds as though it's self-loving, except it is far from that. It is a viewpoint that reinforces ego. It generates fear, confusion, anxiety. It is far from really loving the self and wanting the best for the soul. It just wants the universe to behave in predictable ways according to its whims and desires of the ego. It could be that self-cherishing viewpoint reinforces the idea of being superior to others. Alternatively, it could be based on an idea that we are inferior and deserving of poor treatment. Okay. Very interesting. So that one comes out in some other kind of way. Oh, God. I'm trying to use the light. Okay, that gets back to the part where I was talking about, the duality of masculine and feminine and what that means, and asking to learn the lesson in order to gain, or just to get what you want before you've learned the lesson. And do you really want that? Or you learn to, suffering the ask and you shall receive. I mean, we're all, somebody's always in control. Like, I can't be free here because I'm trying to hide in some one way or another. There's this conflict going on within everything that everybody's sort of like, being allowed to do, allowed to stand up and fight for. Heaven forbid you're just a student or you're on a fixed income and so you can afford to take to the streets. Yet there are times when, people are stuck where they're at, and that's not how they fight this battle that we're fighting, that we're all fighting. And I'm trying to realize that I'm trying to be forgiving of people's shortcomings or their inabilities to fight. And I am very proud of even those I'm most disappointed in. Isn't that funny? I'm disappointed in so many things about so many things that I cherished and loved. And at the same time, I am so proud for their personal fight in trying to be as pure as they can be with the limitations of their life. Nobody would want to be anybody else. It sucks being yourself. Can you imagine being somebody else and how bad that would suck? Oh my God. Okay, so, oh my gosh. Okay. Self-cherishing Buddhist. Don't love your ego too much. Okay, that whole thing. Stop loving your ego so much. Okay. Where are we? The action. Yep. So they go into explaining just that. In action, the self-cherishing viewpoint is akin to a child who only wants to drink sugary drinks, perhaps because they remind her of a birthday party when she feels like a princess. She wants always to feel special. When given a plate of broccoli and carrots and a glass of water, The self-cherishing viewpoint of the child is thwarted. The universe is not behaving according to the viewpoint of things. The wisdom response to this is to disentangle the healthy desire to experience our innate worth from the circumstances. We can then release that the unexpected veggies are a gift of love and well-being. There is no distress, only growth and learning. The self-cherishing viewpoint prevents us from accessing such wisdom. Instead, it attempts to look at the universe lock the universe into behaving according to our limited view. And when those when it fails, we feel the anxiety, the stress, the confusion. I suppose. I mean, yes, right? Yes. But anxiety, distress, and confusion is also a physical ailment. And so if you can, even in your mental angst, find the place where you can put your chin up, where you can exhale completely out of your nose, where you can align your spine in a breath, you can find a way through that confusion mentally. It forces all of your chakras, obviously, to be open so that you may utilize every part of your body's ability to know something, and thereby bring, because, you know, the knowledge is inside of the universe, that is you. And so, yes, when we get into our mind, we can stop considering anything other than ourselves. At the same time, if we keep a mindful breath, I think our bodies will enable us to be able to ignore the sacred that is considering all life, all things, all beings. Self-preservation will make you do anything, though, right? We interpret the plate of veggies to mean that we don't matter, that we have no value, that there is never, that we never get what we want. All right, so we interpret that plate to mean that we are without value, that we've ceased to get anything that we want, and so forth. However, when we want lemonade and life hands us lemons, the wisdom within will prevent us from despair and inspire us to become creative and maybe find a lemon press or even grow an orchard. If things fail to appear to be working out, stop buying into this self-cherishing limitations and that creates distress and confusion in your heart. There is an interpretation of what is happening that will bring you peace. It lies in the breath. And so when you can force the guts to compress all the way and the air all the way reaches the mind on the exhale, you will find that path of distress, least resistance within the body, and so the mind will receive that knowledge quicker. Okay, so oftentimes when you become distressed and that kind of thing, just take that full exhalation out your nose and compress all the distress needs compression. Okay, distress in your mind needs compression in your body and your guts. Just, the guts know, the mind questions. And so you can find the path to understanding that you are far from being punished or denied. You are being assisted on your path. Although you may feel thwarted, that viewpoint shall be temporary. It will give way to the relations that you are deeply loved, cherished, and authentic souls honoring, soul honoring way. Soul honoring. You have nothing to fear. Soul honoring. Beloved mother of my heart, Madhi Vidya Kalima. I mentally and emotionally let go now, no longer trying to impose my viewpoint upon events without ever buying into interpretation of what's happening in my life, which created fear, confusion, and distress. I rest still in the center of my being presence. I am now receptive to your infusion of wisdom. I secure, I surrender, I secure, I surrender, thereby empowered, and forward I move on my path. Your guiding grace, spiritual strength, Jamalically. I tried that. You know, they say you're supposed to, there's supposed to be mantras and stuff like that. And I don't know how to do no dang mantra. And I don't do mantras, but I sing. So I do it like that, and I do it like that, and I do it like that. Dot, 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 dot. I and I, Rastafari. Okie dokie. Another one bites the dust. Another one gone. Another one gone. Another one bites the dust. King of Spades. And that fucking telling. Okay, that's just like the whatchamacallit. I mean, the ones we got up here. Emperor. The ones that's like he's not Hades, but he's kind of the god of war, right? Industrial, we're talking about the industrial, the ecological, the, technological, that would be their domain. We got +6. So, I think we're qualifying the interpretation of what I'm suggesting, madness as it is. Now we got 2 shows up, so we're, again, the passion, love and hate, creation and destruction. Spades, man, we are throwing it down. We are keeping it in the knowledge, in the, you know, again, acquiring knowledge, acquiring knowledge. I mean, not as taking action on the knowledge, coming to the end of something and looking back and seeing what you're going to take of that into the next now, into the next, you know, evolution of our existence here, you know, for me on this planet is what I'm fucking talking about, you know. All right, so we got the magic of clubs. I always say the small clubs that we create, the small communities banding together is what makes us the country, I guess, that we are. And I would like that to be a bit of the way our hemisphere works. Money. Money, 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 money. Money. Money, 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 money. Okay. So just talking about how at the core of this issue is our commerce, is our exchange, is our understanding of this earth and the mineral value on this planet, and that we're really only fighting for minerals here. Okay, rights to the sky, rights to the core of the earth. We're just talking about mineral rights, man. And people are mineral. People are power. We are a commodity. And then so we got passion, the magic of passion along, just under, you know, so the thing that will eventually bring harmony. You know, I'm hoping another 2 comes up. I'm hoping a 2 of spade, but harmony. I'm going to look at these numbers. The Emperor is 4. And so, I hope that's right. It's 4. And so we have body as the Emperor. And so I'm going to take that to be body as the Emperor. And I think that that's a 13, which is 4. I'm not sure. And then 4 would come up again as that. And when we're talking about body, so what is 10, 11 is 2, 13, 11, 12 is 3, 12 is 3, 13 is 4. Yes, okay, 4. High Priestess is 2, so 2 shows up again as a High Priestess, and she shows up again in our reading here with the love, or it, I don't know what the fuck, solar plexus, okay, so root was the body, sacral was our overall, so so this should be more about food and digestion, because the sacral is really more about that. I want to talk about the exchange. Again, I think digestion is a great way to understand this coming together, because before you can use something and then spit out the waste. So the child is kind of, you know, the waste of, you know, that which they created. Isn't that horrible? The offspring is the byproduct of the, you know, the culmination of 2 beings, of 2 things coming together. And, you know, it cannot live inside of, you know, the one or the other. So it has to spit it out. And then we have 5 as the Hierophant, solar plex. Being able to have harmony with your instinct is how I would imply that number with that. And again, you know, sacred harmony with your instinct. And then we have XVI, which is 12, 11. Is it 16? 16, I think. So 16 for the Tower card in the heart. 16 is 7, so 7 shows up. Heart and soul. Heart and soul. So, you know, we have love and hate, and then what comes when love and hate come together, what do they birth? When love and hate come together, what do they birth? What is the byproduct of love and hate? What is the byproduct of love and hate? I'm drawn to a volcano that destroys and creates all at the same time. I'm also drawn to acne, which, you know, releases toxins by accumulating it and pushing it out to the surface. I don't know why that came to mind, but I guess something to do with volcano. XIV 14. Okay, just kidding. Absolutely, I'm not a child anymore. I'm freaking an adult now. What do you call it? 14 is 5, so we have 5 again. Sharing in the sacred way. Interesting. And then the 17, which is 8. Infinite connection with the star. And then, okay, so right now, I don't know what the hell. It's a popular idea to, it's a popular notion now to understand the glandular activity that makes the different males and females that we are, combinations. And then we have 3, and 3 shows up twice now. Empress. All right, so what I'm seeing here is more clarification with the numbers that we went through. The numbers give us great detail as well within this numerology, analytical reading, okay? There's 5s that show up harmony, and then there's the 2 and the thing that show up. Oh, I'm pissed. My 10 dropped. My 10 of spades dropped. My brain can't think without my visuals. I'm not trying to think. Well, knowledge is power. It's crippling if you don't use it. So I know that movement will turn the light on, and I sat there and suffered in my sight, you know. So knowledge wanted to remind me that always do what you need to do when you need to do it. Why sit and suffer your sight and not move around and shake your bum in order to turn the light back on? Come on, you know? So use your brain. Okay, so getting back to 2 shows up and 3 shows up. 2 and 3 show up. So Again, then the two kings. I mean, the two kings and the two queens show up, okay? So there's the chakras. The chakras showed up. The crown chakra showed up as okay. So the crown chakra is knowledge, and universal knowledge that comes down into the being. And so crown chakra is telling us to definitely use it is part of the magic that that the earth is created with. We call it thought. Thought is our magic. It gives us the power to create. Our groups are going to be the electricity that forces the movement. Our small communities that come together will create the magic to move the stubbornness. Where did we have the stubbornness? It was just the male and female. So these are represented in the emperors and the Hierophants is how I'm doing it, but it's also 4 was coming in as body, the physical form, and then 4 showed up as the emperor, and so I likened it to the root chakra and constantly fucking with shit. That's how I'm gonna call that. And then we get into the damage that's been done by the sacred authorities and all of that stuff. And so I can't help but wonder why women and children were were they just extracted and we don't know it from the Palestinian? Were their populations just taken so that their generations can't be, so that those people, those children now, just like the Hawaiian children, are just missing, and so they're just going to be human trafficked all over because we need an influx of, of something. We need an influx of populations in order to hide other populations. I mean, the world is sadistic. Don't get me started on the possibilities of our madness and what we are capable of as beings. Sorry to act like, a conspiracy theorist or something like that, but, I don't believe the television ever. It's all pop, it's all propaganda. I don't even believe YouTube. How about that? Like, I believe everybody is, getting, on the fucking Adidas trail. So I don't expect nearly anything here other than people copying my shit and taking my words and taking my theology and stuff like that and the way that I deliver, at least with the language that I start talking about things, and then I see many other talk about it, and you know what I mean? It's like, I don't care how the knowledge gets out, as long as it gets the fuck out, man. All right? And the fact of the matter is most of my knowledge is copycatted anyways from some other fucking place that I thought was pure and it ain't. Right? So that's why I read what I read, and I don't give a shit what anybody else tells me. Harmony. The harmony will create the infinite connection that's needed during this time, because during this time we are in a time of 2 becoming something else. Not that they will not cease to be the 2 that they are, but they will birth something. Okay? There is nothing wrong with somebody genetically being male and female and being able to give birth, if that's what life created. And I don't know that life created in incubation is any different than life created. I have very little moral compass about just about anything, save for the strong lines that I have when it comes to spiritual food and spiritual sacredness. I don't know what to call it. Infinite connection right under the, so our diamonds, it looks, our reds are cutting through the, our passion is very much isolated in this, and it has it's a 4-direction symbol. Just giving way to passion and its obstruction from way over here. You know, we have all of the king, the 6, the 3, the 5 of truth, absolute light. Black is absolute light, is truth. And so when we see that piercing truth and we see that blockade of passion, we understand how strong the will is of the physical mind. And again, we fight against giving us what we want versus giving us what we need to learn. And the balance, maybe the balance or the imbalance of that. I says we had a time of women, and this is a time of men ending, and we're coming into a time of dual being. And, you know, is that my projection onto you, my focus? Am I trying to make you guys, am I trying to convince you of something? She came up. Our digestive, I'm talking about digestion. I just got through saying, okay? So digestion. It is all about digestion. All right. There it is. Mineral battle, continually fighting for the food, the resource of food, the ability to have sustenance. The lack of desire for one way of life versus another. There is an absolute life and absolute truth. We must be able to bring the soul and the body together. We must be able to bring the mind and the knowledge that helps our home and hearth, our health and wellness. We must be allowed to have that knowledge of food and seed sacredness so that we can eat right and digest correctly. We must. Power to the people. Fight. And that is the fight that the wellness fight is the only fight. The wellness revolution is the only revolution. Fighting for your right to be well is your only real fight. And if you're not fighting to be well with every single breath that you take, by completing your exhalation to say the least, then what it is that you're fighting for? Is there real value in that? Because the knowledge is there and the passion is there. Sacred. The Emperor comes up right again, touching the Emperor with the positive knowledge. The Emperor and the male and the female, the father and the mother, the Empress and the Emperor, the High Priestess and the Hierophant, the Temperance, okay, the Tower and the Star, the end and the beginning. Both of these dualities want us to go forth in life in a good way. We must come to know that. Because that is when our passion will have the sacred movement that is needed to create something. We don't have to limit ourselves. We can live this life without limits and still be sacred. A woman can have 2 men as a husband. A husband can have 2 wives. A husband can have 2 husbands. We can, if that's what our economy calls for, if we cannot for some reason procreate, or we cannot economically take care of, why should one culture dominate? I can have many wives over a society that mixes the cultures. In a society that mixes all the cultures, there are many things that are okay from all aspects of many cultures, save for the violence begot against another. And that includes mental violence. I cannot convince a child that they want what I want by dangling candies in front of them. This gets back to understanding, a part, which are you condoning your actions? Are you condoning them from the, what did Kali Oracle say with the sacred self-care versus just the ego self-care, whatever that was, okay? Now when she shows up in the clubs, and so the wisdom again coming in from the 3. The wisdom of the 3 in the crown, the Empress, she comes right after the root. And so again, we blend the root and the crown, which is to say the Joker might not show up here at this time, but the duality that the Joker set forth on all of us. By just keeping the knowledge and letting our passions run wild for a little while, we gain more knowledge. And by letting our mind restrict our passions for just a little while, we gain our understanding of why we have our passions. There's only the mind wants the mineral value that makes exchange and barter something. Otherwise, does it really matter? Does money really matter? The exchange that we have matters. And so when we are trying so hard to control who can exchange what and where they can exchange it and how they can exchange it and what has value and what is true exchange versus what is, funny money, and it's so hilarious, the word funny money, and I don't mean it at all like what you think, probably. Infinite connection of the, okay, so then the 3 and the 5, and so now it comes together. The harmony and the magic will always come together, and that wisdom will always bring the passion, the harmony of passion together with, and we have the 3 and the 8. and clubs shows up a lot more dominant than, so the knowledge will eventually, when we put the knowledge together, again, the question is in the mind. When we press out all of the air, that air sends all of that knowledge up into our mind so that we have the answers. And once we have that answer, we have the wisdom. And once we have the wisdom, we understand the earth's true value. We understand the power to the people's true value. We understand what is true value. And our emperor becomes knowing of what value is, as the emperor showed up first as a spade, then as a diamond, and then as a 4 in the diamond. Okay, our emperor from our root chakra. Again, our passions, having a clear understanding that our passions must include our passions from our root are trying to send knowledge up into our mind so that our mind can understand this plight that we fight against. Will take all of us in our small groups, and we must understand that within our small groups, again, the 3 coming up, we may select 3 to represent the whole, because we understand that we need all, that which is man, that which is male, and that which is both, in order to understand beings on this earth and what is true value of community. When we bring that 3 together, we will have the harmony, because I believe currently we are trying to achieve, a harmony of the resonance of 5, because we have only been in the resonance of 4, and whilst that is sacred, the understanding of 5, as we know in music, shifts the mind, and without that shift of the mind, we cannot develop mentally past our own limits here. And if we're going to progress truly, not just with our technology but also with our, and so again, in the verbiage, talking, 2 negatives cancel out each other, right? So as I said, not just, and then I said but. So I want us to understand language and how we are able to cancel out what we might have said, which throws me off from what I'm saying. So it must have had something to do, must have been a lie, as my mom would said. But no, harmony, communities of harmony, communities that we have selected that represent all of us, communities that we've acknowledged encompass our values as Indigenous people influencing the world at this time. It is not a Latin invasion. It is not a love for Latin music. It is a love for the Indigenous way of life. And that's got nothing to do with Latin. Harmony. 5 comes up as the Hierophant as well, the solar plex, understanding again, when that knowledge comes up, that gut instinct kicks in. What, I might be wrong, okay? It might be the sacral. Yeah, that's the guts. And then the solar plex, that's the digestion. I don't know that it changes my feel of the read very much. I am talking mostly, the 3 came up and I spoke mostly about, the 2 came up and I spoke mostly about the 2 becoming the 3. and what that means. It's a bit of a purge of something that can no longer live inside of the duality, and it must evolve. And talked about the skin, talked about cells coming together, and then making another. It's just this sacral being orange and the solar plex being yellow. Again, I want to talk about the gut knowledge being the sacral, and then the solar plex being the digestive. So having harmony within your digestion, and having that gut awareness, that instinctual awareness about the exchange of mineral and the value of that exchange and our food wellness. So I think it all sort of stands in that way. 4 is also body, so we rectify that. And then 7 hasn't yet come up, but we got the 7 in the 5 and the 2 equaling the 7. So the soul is very much represented here. The ace, the passion, again, is outstanding in this particular read. So understanding that our passion is driving us, and it will set our value. 6 comes up in the 5 and the 1, and then it being 15 again today. Positive passion with the roots of knowledge. Again, I have the King of Diamonds, and on top of the King of Diamonds is the Queen of Clubs. And so we have a mix of passion, the man's passion and the woman's wisdom, in order to create something is sort of at the center of this. And on some level, it is the root chakra that is 4. And so it is natural that the king that shows up as a spade would then become red and show up in its root form of passion. And the fuckery that's going on to, yield the woman's wisdom, but understanding that there are so many different, I have 9 on either side of the women, on either side of the male and female right here in the center. The diamond and the queen and the clubs, King of Diamonds, Queen of Clubs, female on top, if you will. And then to the left, the passion, 4 of diamonds, 4 of nines. And then on the right is the diamond ace and the 8. And so both of those are 9. So she's surrounded by the dark before the dawn. And on the tips of that dark before the dawn is the 10 and the king. And so in some ways, the king is the 10 in a deck of cards at times. And they both are spades. And so the king of spades, the king's knowledge, the king's awareness, the darkened root, the absolute light of the root, I want to say the chakra, the crown chakra, shining absolute light down into the root and igniting that knowledge, and that we are that accumulation of coming together with the passion and the absolute light. Again, the coming together of male and female. We may just be stepping into a whole new universe of existence that we're unaware of. Mentally shifting, they tell us, but who am I to say? I have no idea. I'm without any idea about any of that. It sounds like fantasy to me, but I am seeing the 5 and the 8 down below again when the, and it's just, again, 5 and 5 is 10. 8, I have the diamond of 8 and touching the 8, and so that's 9, and I got, 10, 9. Now I'm doing my final card, and it's the clubs of 2. I mean, this is fucking, and the 2 and 2 are touching, and they are 4. And again, the wisdom of man surrounding the woman who shows up underneath and, underneath supporting the man, and then now over top surrounded by fight and, constantly getting fucked. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this. In the fight against indigenous way of life versus the technological way of life that is very male dominant, that we're trying to sort of come out of by, again, forcing man to become woman in some way, shape, or another, forcing women to become men, because the notion that we are trying to become one and evolve on some level, life in a lab versus life outside. This is the difference between allowing the woman, which is the earth, to take every shape that she needs to take, even the male shape if she needs to take the male because she makes male, I may put some fleas on dogs. So, there it is there. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on, but this is just this is just a representation of the, again, to dominate the mother, to dominate the earth is to suggest that you own it. And so we have to erase all the indigenous people who are, standing against that. And that's what we, the indigenous, are in resistance to. That's what we will, as human beings, fail to allow, because we as human beings on this planet all respect life. And there is one people that will stand against the puny grips of industry. By simply shifting our values once more. And they will attempt to stop us. And we will continue to understand the use of electricity and the use of the earth magic in order to use it in a good way. I don't know how I'm going to be a YouTube star if I stop using a cell phone because I want to refuse to use lithium. Can we just pay the fucking people to work, right? Can we just give people their rights over their own minerals? I think so. I think we can just allow, we can all just, when I pray, when I ask the cards to give me an answer, I want specification. I don't want a generic, general, uh, uh, one size fits all. Find your fucking love here. I don't, not that I don't gravitate towards watching those reads incessantly. I also know that they're entertainment, just like this is somewhat entertainment, because I'm not a doctor and I'm not I have no anything credentials other than wellness. So the notion that I can do anything for anybody that they can't do for themselves, I mean, that's what anarchy wellness is. You can do everything for yourself, down in the front, up in the back, exhale completely out your nose. What do you want? Creator gave it to all of us. Shit, sleep, procreate, sex, 3 pillars of life. So the maps are all there for you to figure out how to be healthy on this planet. And so understanding that the duality that this talks about is your mind and your body, and is your soul and your mind, and it makes your body, is your mind and your soul, and it makes your body, is your body and your soul, and it makes your mind, is your however the combination is. You have got to take care of eating right in order to have the ability to mentally know what's right. You have got to mentally eat right to know what is physically, what your body is physically telling you, to receive the physical. Trusting your gut, the earth value exchange that happens in that guts will give you the clarity that you need to understand about the universe and how it came to bring you, magically you. Why one has to constantly win over the other, male and female, I fail to know why that exists. At the same time, I fail to understand why we want to become cyborgs and live inside, and yet refuse to allow people to live outside. The indigenous way is very much what I hope to protect with my life. I can't, because if I protect anything else, I feel against my spirit. Free all the indigenous people. I would like an indigenous perspective. How would you say it? For me, it's America's indigenous movement of the West. For me, it's, the work that's done to highlight the world's indigenous perspective, all of us who carry it. And at the same time, I am far from impressed with any statesmanship or governing stance or even world federation. I am so unbelievably jaded. But then I think of what jade is, and it's adaptable, and it's fire surrounded by water. Volcanic elements is a really good way to understand, and it is volcanic element, but it comes in obsidian, basalt, jade, malachite. I mean, it comes in all these different ways, and each one has a dominant of the other elements. And so that's what you want to understand when it comes to creation. You can put all the same elements together, but one versus another in that is going to create something entirely different that behaves differently with great similarities, both being able to hold heat. All of the types of volcanic rock hold heat better than any, so that's going to be the dominant characteristic. We are human beings, but we will reside on a glandular spectrum of male and female. There's no doubt about that. We've had, hermaphrodites and all that other kind of stuff that I don't even know if is politically correct. But we've had every single kind. So, and there's just, I don't know why that keeps coming up. So I guess I just have, Anarchy Wellness has topics that I believe in. And that's sexual sobriety and food wellness. The wellness revolution. But is it going to be televised?